What's up? Welcome back to the channel. We're about to talk about chapter 397. I say chapter 397 even though the chapter numbers is a little weird, but for the point of this video, it's going to be 397. This is a really good chapter. This was I really enjoyed this chapter. But getting straight into it, in the beginning of this chapter, what we get to see Arthur, Ellie, and his mom and kind of enjoy their family dinner together. And it's nice. It's nice. Well, yeah, I guess it's dinner. I don't think it was breakfast. I think it was dinner. But it's nice. It's nice to see, them kind of just, Ellie and Arthur just kind of fooling around with cooking the food, and Regis acting like an actual dog. Got the puppy dog eyes, trying to eat the burnt meat, and it's kind of funny to me. Then when Alice scolds him about how he needs to have a balanced diet, I'm just thinking to myself, like, how can he even eat food to begin with? Like, how does he even eat solid food? Because during the time he was in the relic tombs, he never ate like regular food. He always just consumed ether. That's all he needed to survive. But I guess he can eat, burnt meat now. So that's interesting. But yeah, Alice, she's really just kind of like, warmed and really happy about, just seeing Ellie and Arthur kind of messing around, like, it being like normal again to her. And she's crying and stuff, and it's sweet, like they're actually spending family time again, since Reynolds had died. And you can tell they all kind of enjoy it, and they're just kind of just getting back to normal. So that was dope. Then we gonna move on to Arthur and his whole thinking process, and the idea that he's coming up with to be able to help out the Lancers. So he goes and gets Gideon and Emily. He goes and gets them too. And now I'm really curious what Arthur's coming up with, right? So he gets Gideon and Emily. He wants to get Gideon to have some sort of mana measurement equipment of some sort, right? And he summons all of the Lancers. Now, this is where I'm going to spend the bulk of my time talking about, because I'm really just kind of curious. So he summons all of them there, and he's letting them know what happened with the Asuras and the Indrath clan and what they did to the Jinn. And, he also flat out tells them that, like, I can't trust you guys to take care of everybody here without me being here. Like, you're not strong enough to be able to defend the Catherine. You're just not. And they just take it, and they know it's true, which is like, okay, y'all already know this, but I guess him actually saying it hits deeper, because he's saying it to them, and so they're just kind of like, just frustrated by it all, right? But he says that he's coming up with an idea to help them push past their boundaries. Now, I never really thought of it like this, but he talks about how, Kessis and Agrona, how similar they are. Now, we know that, right? We know that they're similar as far as, like, they want to be in control. They want to have dominance over the lesser beings. And not just over the lesser beings, but over everyone, right? And they saw the Jinn as, as pretty much potential competition to be stronger than them and take over their, or they saw them as a threat. I guess I'll just say it like that, a threat to take over, so they won't be able to have just, total dominance over them, right? And they're just power hungry people when they want to stay in power. And so I never really thought of it when he said that when Kessis gave them, the humans, not just the humans, but when he gave the lessers, we're just calling them lessers, right? Because you got the dwarves, you got the elves, and you got the humans. And so we're just going to call them lessers for now. So when he gave the lessers the artifacts to create the lances, to have them bound to them, he says that it didn't inherently limit their growth, right? Because remember how, what's his name? Aldir. Remember how Aldir said that the artifact limits their growth to get past the white stage, right? To white core stage. It makes it harder for them to grow stronger. And so I always thought that, that was just a side effect, right? That was just some sort of condition of being granted that sort of power to be able to boost them past the silver core stage and go to the white core stage. It's just a side effect, right? Because Arthur ended up not taking it. And, but he didn't know that. He declined it before he even knew that. And Aldir was like, yeah, that's the right choice. So I kind of thought of it as just like, it's a consequence. But Arthur says that no, he said that it didn't inherently do this. It was something that Kessis, I guess, added to the artifacts. Now, how Arthur knows it doesn't inherently do this, I guess it just comes from his better understanding of ether, right? But I never really thought of it that way. I thought it was just a consequence. But so I'm guessing either Kessis or maybe some of the elders or something like that, they're the ones that put that sort of condition or restriction on the artifact, because, as Arthur explains, he didn't want them to grow stronger, right? He didn't want them to get strong enough to be a potential threat. And Agrona understands this too, which he leads to, the Agrona side. So he went like a different way in order to be able to limit their powers, right? But I was just like, oh, okay. So not only can he use these empowering artifacts that they had got that said that's going to, make them strong enough to contend with the Lances, not the Lances, strong enough to contend with the size, but it was also an effect of the Lance artifact. So it was restricting their ability to grow stronger, grow past the white core stage. But then also with the empowering artifacts, with the, I guess, the consequence, if they were to use that with what Renia has said, that it would cause them to, listen, I'm going to preface my comments. If you want to maybe detail it in the comment section, what I'm about to talk about next, but I'm going to go back and reread the section that she talked about with the consequences of using the artifacts. But I believe it had some sense of just like, if they use the artifacts, then Kessis will have some sort of control over the Lances that get strong enough to contend with the sides. And so he will have some sort of control over them, and as a consequence, it would damage the land, it would damage their home, and there won't be no home to go back to after the war, because it's going to destroy, the environment. And then also I think Kessis will have some sort of control over them as well. But I'm gonna go back and reread to make sure that's true. But if you already know, leave the comments in the comment section, right? But going back to those artifacts. Now, he says that there's a key to which Kessis left or gave them, and that is what they're going to be able to use. Not like actual key, but like one of, I think it's either the empowering artifact or it is the Lance artifacts to make them, white core mages. One of those two artifacts is the key into helping them push past their boundaries, their restrictions. And so I'm just really curious now, right? I'm really curious as to how he's going to do it. We know that Realm Heart is going to be a big factor, because he needs to be able to, it looks like he needs to be able to see how the mana and the ether that's in the artifact, how they kind of like, because he says also that he's never seen mana and ether, I guess, react, or so he said that the interplay between the mana and the ether was unlike anything he's ever seen before. And so I'm not really sure. So he's also said that it reminded him of the soul realm, which was part of the ability of the ether orb. And so I'm guessing that's probably going to have something to do with him being able to maybe use the wands to, or the artifacts to be able to, push them past. Maybe he needs to push them or get rid of their restrictions first and then use the artifacts to be able to empower them, right? The empowering artifacts. That's what I'm thinking. But if I were to just read it, right? And so he says, the artifacts didn't contain an extra dimensional space, but they were simply containers for massive quantities of mana ether. It was almost like Kessis had drawn in and contained potential, and by using the artifacts, that potential was expended into a living being. I don't understand what the fuck that even means. I mean, he doesn't understand either, right? But that's what it said. And so I don't know how you can use the artifacts and have it contain potential, and then that potential manifests itself in, like, that's still, he says he doesn't even fully understand it either. So, but yeah, I'm really just kind of curious of how he's gonna, I know it's gonna have something to do with what he, with the ether orb and the soul realm and trying to see how that connects. He needs to use, Realm Heart. If he didn't have Realm Heart, none of this shit would be possible in the first place. But yeah, he's going to figure out a way. But he also says that it's not a training session. So it's not an actual. So I'm guessing he's going to do it. Like, he's going to either have them like release their mana, or I don't know. But I'm really curious to see how he does it, because Turtle Meat doesn't just give people random ass power-ups the way that you see it in other shows. Like, it actually takes work, and there's some sort of like reasoning behind it, right? There's like it makes logical sense why the power-up happened, and so I'm really curious to see how he's going to do this, what he's going to have them do, and how he's going to use the artifacts. Like, I'm really excited. And it sucks that next week you're not going to get a chapter, but I'm really excited about that. Another moment in this chapter 2 is that, once again, Byron's just being, awesome, like showing his determination to protect his homeland, and, how he's willing to do whatever it takes, blood, sweat, tears, it doesn't matter. To his core breaks, like, he's going to do whatever needs to be done. And, it's just another W for Byron, just being great. Arthur says something that is really interesting to me. Now, he talks about how he needed to become gray, and how gray is still going to be needed going forward. And he's not going to be ready to just be Arthur again until the war is over. Now, I don't really understand what he means by being gray in Alakria. Now, I understand it with like him pretending. I understand that part. Him pretending and doing the whole teaching thing, and, pretending to be an ascender. I understand all that. I understand that he was pretending. I understand that he was trying to learn and all that stuff. But like, when he was with Kara, him and Kara, he was himself. Like, Arthur was really just himself. He wasn't really pretending. He was being him. Same thing with his interactions with Ceres, or, the people that he ended up getting a little close to. Like, Arthur was him for the most part. He wasn't like, he's always been, mature as far as like how to understand and how to interact with other people, and, like being reliable, and, like even like learning how to flirt with older women and shit. Like, he was doing a lot of stuff. It's just like, oh, okay. Like, he understands how to behave and how to interact with other people. But I don't really understand, like, pretending, like being gray. Like, was that all that just like being gray to him? Because some of those same aspects also reflected in him being Arthur, and just how he interacted with people too. Like, I don't know. I don't really understand. Like he was really just being Arthur. Like, he wasn't really being gray, not really. Like, maybe in some aspects of like just pretending and all the other stuff, but like, I mean, he was really Arthur. He didn't really seem like a different person, really. I don't know. What do you guys think? Did he really seem? He didn't really seem different to me, you know. So that was interesting that he said that he couldn't beat Arthur and that he had to like still be Gray. So I don't really get that. But other than that, that's it. I'm just really excited about how Arthur's going to give them this power. That's what I'm most excited about. How it's going to work, what he's going to have them do, and when they actually do power up, how strong are the lances actually going to be, man? That's going to be dope to find out. Like, how strong are they going to be? Are they going to be able to take on a Scythe one-on-one, right? So that's awesome. And I'm just excited, man. I'm just excited about what's to come. But that's it for me. You know, you guys like the video if you enjoyed it. And as far as next week goes, I want to continue going into the next section, talking about, Brokebeak and, 3 steps and that whole snowy area, talking about that part. I'm still rereading that part, but I want to talk about that part next in my next video. But that's what's coming. That's going to be coming up next, you guys. That's it for me, guys. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.